Hi, everybody. Okay, so I've never made a video before, and I'm totally new to this, so don't judge my lack of technology ability or whatever. I guess I feel really compelled to talk about my experience of having a baby in the middle of the pandemic and what that has been like for me. I think it's kind of hard as a new mom for people to really understand what it's like to do this in the pandemic. And I gave birth at the end of March, so kind of as things were just kicking off on like in the west of the world anyways. Um, and I could have really benefited from someone talking to me about like what it was like, how I felt, or how they felt, I guess it would have been. So I'm just gonna say a few things, and you can share your experiences too. If anyone ever watches this, maybe no one ever will. I've never posted on YouTube, so I don't exactly know. But lately, like in my heart, I felt this real need to say some things. Um, so, like I said, I had my son and at the end of March. And I'm from the States, but I live in Ireland with my husband. So I am away from family, and we are not in contact with my husband's family. He's from Ireland. So, like when it was time to have my son, I assumed that my family would be coming over here to give me support and give me some community, and like love on me, love on my son, love on my husband, help us, all that kind of stuff. But obviously, that all went away because of the pandemic. So we were kind of left to our own devices and to figure out being parents. This is my first child, and my husband's first child. Um, and it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. And I don't think that um I don't know, for me it's been really tough, like people just acting like, oh, it's no big deal, you had a baby in the pandemic. I had a baby 10 years ago, and my mom came over, blah blah blah. I think people can't really understand. I'm not trying to say woe is me, but I'm just um it's a scary time to have a baby. You feel nervous about other people coming in contact with your baby even more probably than you would. And you're worried about getting the virus yourself, or you know being in contact with someone who has it and then accidentally giving it to your child. And we're already concerned about babies, like they're these beautiful pure beings, and to have this extra weight of this huge virus on top of everything else, it's massive, and it's a lot to take on as a new parent, especially when you're away from family and a support system. Um, and I mean, like giving birth in the pandemic, I feel maybe I'll make another video about that, like what that whole experience was like. But I just want to say that I actually don't exactly know what I want to say. I think that it's so hard to be a new mom, whether it's the pandemic or it's a regular year, or whether you're surrounded by family or whether you're alone. There's a lot of changes that happen to your body and to your mind, and your hormones are all over the place. And it's kind of hard, I think, for the men to really understand what you're going through, even if they have great empathy. And my husband does have amazing empathy and love for me. Um, but it's just hard anyways. And so to be alone and to be like away from family, away from friends, not allowed to be in community, or I guess I could have done it, but then I would have been being risky and dangerous and whatever. So I tried to be safe, and I tried to stay home and protect my son and protect myself. And it's just a lot to handle. And I want to send love to other moms who, or moms to be, who are going through this. Before I had my son, I watched a ton of videos on YouTube about what it's like to give birth, and how you feel after, how you feel before pregnancy, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of that was really interesting and really helpful. But because I had my son at the beginning of the pandemic, there weren't any videos on what it's like to give birth in a pandemic because no one else was really doing it then. Or maybe there were videos and I just didn't see them. I didn't go to the depths of YouTube, I guess. Um, but, you know, I think that as new moms, we really need support. We really need community. Breastfeeding, it's hard. And all the videos I saw before were amazing. Like the baby crawls up the mom's stomach and then just latches, and it's so magical. And I can say from personal experience that I could have really used the support of other women and community and just everything. And being away from family as a new mom, it's really hard. Being away from friends, it's hard too. Um, and being with your child all the time, you love your child. I love my son. And, you know, he's like the apple of my eye. I think it's amazing. Everything he does, I love when he farts, you know, like I love things that are disgusting about him. But it's, you still need time away. You still need time to be a person and have space. And because it's coronavirus, there hasn't been the opportunity for that. He's 5 months old. I feel like I've been with him 24/7 since then. And some of that's on me. Maybe it's time to start, you know, okay, trusting babysitters or whatever. But you read the stories and then you think, could I forgive myself if something were to happen to my baby? And the answer for me is probably no. I want to protect him. I want to do a good job. I want to do right by him. And I, a lot of people have told me too, it's interesting. They'll say, like, oh, you're so lucky that you've gotten this time with your son. Like, I wish I had had that time with my child, son, daughter, whatever, when they first were born. So you're really lucky that he came in a pandemic. At first I thought, oh, maybe that's kind of true. Like, you know, it is a blessing that I've gotten to kind of like cocoon and be with him and protect him from the world. Um, I don't feel that way actually, though. So I don't know why I was kind of like forcing myself to buy into that. I actually feel like it's not a good time to have a baby. And it's okay for us to stop pretending like this is some magical, amazing time to be a person and, oh, it's a time of like great awakening or whatever. I'm kind of tired of that too. Like, let's cut to the nitty gritty. This is a tough time, and it's okay if we actually say that it is. And it's a tough time to have a baby, and it's a tough time to have a baby away from your family and in a foreign country where you're not familiar with the medical system. And after I had my son, my husband was allowed to stay with me for 2 hours. Then he was sent away. It was like, oh, okay, you had a baby, bye. Um, so like that wasn't beautiful for me. I could not walk. I couldn't feel my legs. I had the epidural, and I was like, wait, how am I going to take care of this baby when I can't even lift myself up or move or like stand? It it's funny to me though that people try to spin the pandemic like it's some kind of amazing time. People say it to my husband too. They'll say, "Oh, how lucky! Like you had that time to be with your son. That is so lucky and so beautiful." And then sometimes I'm like, "Yeah, I'm so glad they've bonded." But then I also think, "What the hell am I talking about? They could have bonded in a regular time instead of in the pandemic." And yeah, I've probably gone on too long and complained and whatever, but I think I'm tired of us all pretending like everything's fine in the pandemic and that everything's perfect and that we're just all gonna like this is all some kind of great experience or some life lesson. Um, yeah, for me, it hasn't been that. It's been a challenge. I had some postpartum depression and anxiety, and I've been with my son all the time. And sometimes I think, like, I just want to go away. I just want to disappear. I want to have some moments alone. I need a break. I need a vacation from myself. I need a vacation from being a mom, whatever. And that's him now making some noise. But yeah, I mean, we will get through this, and everyone else will too. I know that. Um, uh, this video, it's all over the place. It's just a compilation of my thoughts, I guess, that I've been wanting to like word vomit lately, and now I have. So maybe next video, I'll say something that's a little bit more logical and actually has a flow. Until then, farewell.